Hello, welcome back to the channel, and today I'll be talking about the 5 teams that are ready to take the next step in this upcoming college football season. This is going to be an interesting list, I think, and it's just teams basically that I think have a pretty good future going forward, whether it be this upcoming season or going forward after that. And basically, if they got like a good grasp on what's going forward in college football. We're going to start off with Notre Dame. Notre Dame, I think, has kind of got a good thing going this year. More specifically, is they finally got a really good quarterback. I would say Sam Hartman's probably the best quarterback Notre Dame's seen in a long time. And other than that, I really think that Notre Dame's kind of got a lot going on for them. They've got 2 pretty good offensive tackles. Pretty good's pretty lame for one of them. Joe Alt's going to go probably top 5 in next year's upcoming NFL draft in Detroit. And Blake Frazier on the other side is doing pretty good as well. So they've got a pretty good base of offensive line. Their defense is always solid. They've obviously got their schedule is their schedule, kind of an ACC schedule plus playing Ohio State. But Ohio State's at home. Ohio State, probably the worst quarterback Ohio State's had, one would say, going into a season in probably a couple decades. Now, as for the rest of the team, Marcus Freeman is really doing his thing as their head coach. He obviously had a pretty bumpy head start to the year. Kind of handcuffed with losing Tommy Rees down Alabama and Tyler Buckner, but obviously Sam Hartman was kind of brought in to be that guy. I was surprised Hartman didn't leave for Alabama to kind of go with Tommy Rees, but he stayed, which is a good sign because maybe he wasn't committed just because of Tommy Rees, so he's more committed to that idea of Notre Dame. So they're another team that the easy thing is to say college football is better when they're better, but it's going to be very interesting to see how their schedule goes going forward, right? Some of the teams are going to be going to the Big Ten. Will they keep USC on the schedule? I don't know if it's even in their hands. But as for anything else, I mean, Stanford's bad. They play them a lot. I know they're going to play Navy again this year in Ireland. It'll be a good start. Week 0, you get a lot of hype. It's going to be good for them there. And I just think that they've got a lot of pieces in place. They're starting to recruit pretty well again. If they start getting some NIL in there, even, as Dabo would say, God's image and likeness in there. Good academic school. They've got a good thing going, man, with this independent, half ACC, half independent thing. I think they're kind of going in the right direction. I know it's been a while since they've been like super elite. I know they were good that one ACC year with Ian Book and those guys, but now that they have a good quarterback again, it is the surrounding things around Notre Dame are kind of there. If they just have a good star quarterback like Sam Hartman, I think they can make a lot of noise, but maybe not this season, but the year after, I think so too. Obviously, he's leaving, but C.J. Carr will come in, the grandson of Lloyd Carr, Michigan legendary head coach. It sucks to see him leave, but he's ready to roll over there in Notre Dame. So the second team is going to be UCLA. Now, UCLA is moving to the Big Ten, so you might be like, okay, they're going to be definitely playing harder games, harder schedule. They're kind of built to be more of a Big Ten team, as crazy as it sounds. You got Chip Kelly with his revolutionary offense. He's, a pretty good general manager in terms of getting guys. Obviously flipped Dante Moore, 5-star quarterback from Detroit, Michigan, from Oregon to UCLA to death. Now he's got Carson Steele coming in, the Ball State running back, got a lot of Midwestern guys. And you kind of look at USC, they had a really good thing there with Zach Charbonnet and Dorian Thompson-Robinson. And they were able to get, 10 wins at UCLA, which is, something they haven't done in a very long time. So it's good to see that they're kind of building out these trenches. They got some good offensive play, a lot of good O-line, got a D-line. Lai Latu, I believe is his name. He's going to be a really good player this season. And they're kind of building to be a more physical team. When you think of USC, and more importantly, when you think of Chip Kelly, you think of this finesse team. But getting him another stud, really good quarterback, obviously, with Dante Moore. And he's able to work the portal pretty well, especially the Midwest. He's getting a lot of MAC guys coming in. I think that's a really good combo of successes. They've got pretty good recruiting classes and then cherry pick the skill position top guys they want to plug and play in terms of the portal. I think it's a really good recipe for success, especially to compete in the toughness of the Big Ten. So, get guys from the Midwest, obviously like Dante, that kind of understand how things work in Michigan, let alone the Big Ten in general. So those are the quick reasons why I think UCLA is in a good position to be better. I'd almost say they're almost a better spot than USC is in terms of performing in the Big Ten, because USC's lack of a defense is really getting exposed by these slow ground and pound run the ball teams. But I think UCLA is really going to be better than USC in the Big Ten, which might be a crazy hot take, but hey, I'm all here for the hot take. Up next, we got Texas A&M. Now, this is me banking on Bobby Petrino being a really good thing and it actually working, right? One of the most under-talked about things last year was Texas A&M had the number 1 pass defense in the country last year. Now, was that partially because they were bad against the run? A little bit. But they have a really good elite secondary. So if you can start to even settle down the run a little bit, you got a good thing going. And that offense was god awful, and they were a point away from beating Alabama. They probably should have beat them, to be honest. Granted, there was no Bryce Young in that game, but still, there's no Bryce Young this year, so, we're looking at that as well. But they were really close in a lot of games, a little Nebraska vibes from a few years ago, but I think they were, 5-7? They missed the bowl game, but they had no offense. Devin A-Chain was all they had. He was doing things on special teams. He was doing all this, all that, but, if they get a little bit more certainty with quarterback, if they get some more chemistry with their offense, they're recruiting very well with receivers. I know they got another 5-star kid the other day. I think that they're really going to get back to where they were before they got Jimbo Fisher, right? Some 10-win seasons in there. Obviously, Johnny Manziel was a big factor of it, so he get another quarterback in there. They got the money to go out there and, recruit a quarterback, a.k.a. buy one from the portal, right? So I think that if they add that piece in next year, or even this year, I think that they can make a lot of noise. I have them winning 9 or 10 games this year. I know that's kind of probably crazy for anyone outside of College Station, but that defense is really good, and you can really build around a good, solid defense, especially in the SEC. Get another running back in there that can do his thing, and get some, good offense with Bobby Petrino. And I think this team's going to be making a lot of noise. The fourth team will go over to Tallahassee, Florida. We got the Florida State Seminoles. Now, they're the sexy team of this year. I think them and Penn State are probably the cover of every magazine. One of those two teams. This is the it team this year. Why is that? Jordan Travis comes back, right? The transfer from Louisville a few years ago. Really good quarterback last year. He's getting some Heisman looks this year. They've got a bunch of freaks on offense. You got Johnny Wilson, who's 6'7". You got Keon Coleman, jump ball specialist, 6'5" basketball player. You've got Jaheim Bell, the athletic freak, half running back, half tight end, which we haven't seen in a long time, out of South Carolina over in there. They've got a pretty good offensive line, pretty good defensive line. They got one of the best defensive pass rushers in the country in Jared Verse. Dude was going to get a first-round pick last year and decided to come back, and now he's probably going to go top 10. Mock draft season has him going, pick 5 to 10. Him or Dallas Turner, the first edge rusher off the board. But he's making a lot of money, man. The way the edge rusher position is being valued, and a lot of the guys in the league might be holding out for some more contracts, he could be a real high pick because the edge position really is super important in football nowadays. They've also got some pretty big games early on, so if they win LSU, I think I've said a few times with Florida State. I know they did a video on them, so I'll go a little bit quicker on them, but they've got 2 huge games in their first 4 games. They have at Clemson week 4, and they've got LSU week 1. So if you win both of those games, the hype machine's going to be on, and it's your playoff berth to lose. I mean, you beat one of the better SEC teams. You beat the reigning conference champion, perennial conference champion in their home. Yeah, the hype machine's going to go crazy, and rightfully so, because I think that they could keep it competitive, man, and they're building it right. Mike Norvell almost got ran out of town a few years ago, but their NIL is heating up. They just got that really good corner. I forgot his name, but a really good 5-star corner they just got. So a lot going on for the Seminoles, and hey, if they end up joining the Big Ten, it'd be even better for them, or even the SEC. It'd help their recruiting another level that it already is at. Very high, but it would take it the next step. Our final team is a little bit of bias for me, but it's the Tennessee Volunteers. Now, yes, they have a gimmicky offense in theory. What does in theory mean? Well, we haven't seen it from year to year. If teams figure it out, like South Carolina figured it out and Georgia figured it out, they could be in trouble, right? It's how you kind of revolve around it. Joe Milton is one of the most talented quarterbacks, is the word that people keep using, but I would just say he's most interesting because he's got a lot of God-given natural talent in terms of tall, strength, speed, arm strength, all that stuff, right? Will it translate to wins? Maybe. I mean, he started 2 games in 4 years. There's probably a reason for that. They did lose Cedric Tillman. Granted, he didn't really play much last year. They also lost Hyatt, but they brought in Dante Thornton. They've recruited a lot better on defense, which is the main reason why I'm looking here. They just got Bennett Warren the other day, really good offensive lineman, helped replace Darnell Wright in a few years. But it's just okay, they're recruiting the trenches. They've got some returning production at running back. They can probably rotate to a bit of a running team if they need to. Obviously, he's still going to be 80% pass, but they have that running option. Nico Iamaleava, one of my favorite players I've ever seen. He's our backup quarterback. That guy is unbelievable. And if this offense works with as good of a quarterback as he is, and you start getting these defensive guys in, like Boo Carter, between Tennessee and Michigan, and he obviously chose Tennessee at the moment. So that's just some more wins. If you're starting to recruit your top guys in state, you're keeping them in state, you're getting a lot of these good defensive players, I think it's very, very, very important that we look out for Tennessee, because when they lose Georgia off the schedule every year, and they lose some of these other guys off the schedule, right, with the conferences getting shaken up, they are going to probably benefit. They're one of the teams that get a benefit of it, right? Because they're right there, right? If they avoid Georgia and end up having to play them in the SEC championship game, that's still going to get you in a good bowl. We've seen before the loser of the SEC championship game still even get in the playoff. I would almost say it's like more happened than not the last few seasons. But that's all I got really for now. Let me know if you agree with these teams or if there's a few other teams that I missed in your opinion. But yeah, thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys next time. Peace.